All right, we have got this part of our composition taken care of. We've blended this into the background, and now we need to start putting in some of the text that we want to make our movie poster more believable. So to add text to the composition, we will go to the text tool in the toolbar here, and we'll click on it. Now before I actually put text on here, I can see that the color of my text is going to be black. That's what's selected here. And if I put text down here on a black background, I'm not going to be able to see what I'm typing. So I'm just going to go here, click on that, find a lighter color. I can use white, whatever, and then just say OK. And then I'm going to click on the background, and it's going to give me this little cursor down there. And I'll just go ahead and type what I want to type on there. In this case, I'm going to type the word Photoshop. All right. Now, I'm going to push enter on my keyboard or click this little check mark at the top to save those changes or commit to those. And then I'm going to make sure that my my text layer is actually selected. And I'm going to choose Control T on my keyboard so I can transform that. I'm going to hold the Shift and the Alt so that I can transform it in proportion. And that looks like it's about the right size that I wanted. And I push Enter on my keyboard. All right, that's not the font that I really want. So I can go over here to the Layers palette, and anytime that I have text selected on here, I can just double click on this little T here, and it's going to select all of my text. Now it's just like any other word processor at this point. I can just go here, find what font I want to actually use, and I'm not really sure which one I want to use. I'm just going to find one. Maybe that Thrills. Nah, I don't like that. Maybe I should have had a font picked up before I actually started the tutorial. What do you think? All right, I think I like that one. And that's way too big, and that's okay. So I'm going to make the font smaller. It's 136 right now. I'm just going to go highlight that and make that about 75. And that seems to be okay. So I'll go ahead and push OK. And then I'm going to transform this. So I'm going to do Control T again on my keyboard, and I'm going to stretch it out a little bit, and then I'm going to bring it in on both sides by using the Shift and the Alt button at the same time. And I think I am going to stretch it a little bit more. Okay, now I'll just push Enter on my keyboard, and now I have my text. The next thing that I want to do with this text is I want to go ahead and start putting in some neat effects with it. Now, I want to pick maybe one of the colors from maybe my shirt or maybe on my face, or just a color within the composition to make this text kind of blend in with it a little bit. So again, I'm going to double click on this little icon here that is right on the layer of my text. It's going to select the text. Then I'll go over here to my color palette. I'll click on that. And once I click inside of here, now when I move that into my composition, it turns into an eyedropper. So I can go here and just kind of pick a color that I want. I think I want something that's a little more, well, I don't know, kind of a off-white color. So I'll select in there and say OK. And then I'll say OK on the top of the screen here. Yeah, that's the color I'm looking for. So next, I want to add some effects on here. So I'll go down here to my effects palette down here. That's at the bottom of my layers palette. And when I click on there, the first thing I want to do is probably add a stroke. So when I click on there, it's going to give me this dialog box. I'll move this so we can see it here. It's got the color of black. Now you'll see it change whenever I go to a different color here. It doesn't matter what color I pick. You can see that now highlight down here on your, or actually preview on your text. And again, I think I'm going to try to sample one of the little colors maybe in my shirt here. Maybe that kind of off green color. Nah, I don't like that. just kind of moving around to find it. I kind of like that color. So I'm going to say OK, and then I'm going to make the size of that stroke bigger. You can see as you move this slider in here, then it will give you a little thicker color, and I think that's okay for what I'm looking for. While I have this effects palette open, I want to do some other things that are in here. First thing I want to do is go to this bevel and emboss, and when you click on the word, it puts a check mark next to the words, and then it also highlights it and changes this part of the dialog box. So as you can see, it also goes in and actually updates or gives you a preview of what you're looking for here. You can go in here and play with this all you want. You can go in and change the depth of what you're doing. You can change the size of it. You can see, you can just play with it all day and get all different types of cool effects on what you're looking for. I'm going to bring this about like that, and I think that's perfectly fine for my purposes. One other thing that I want to do, since I'm inside of this dialog box, is go to an outer glow. And when I click on just the box itself, you see nothing changed over here. It's not until I actually click on the words that it actually gives me the option that I have within that particular effect. So in here, I really want to go and try to find kind of a purple color. I like that color here. So I'm going to do that first, I believe. I'm going to say OK. And then here, I'll start using the size and the spread to kind of give me the effect that I'm looking for. And you can see that preview right there underneath. OK. All right, then I'm going to say OK. Now, notice what we have here in our layers palette now. We have the text layer, and then below that, within the same, really the same layer, we have an effects, we have the outer glow, the bevel emboss, and the stroke. All the things that we have created on here. So if I were to go here and turn off some of these things, like this outer glow, I could turn that off independent of the bevel and emboss, and also the stroke. And then I can turn all of the effects off by just doing that. Okay. In the next movie, we will go ahead and continue to creating some more text and formatting that text inside of Photoshop.